Hey guys, so next month is NanoWriMo and I am participating for the second time, though I'm super excited. And I wanted to create a video in honor of November on books about writing, because I know writing can be a very stressful thing and it's something that you have to stay motivated and inspired to continue doing. So I thought, why not give my top books that keep me inspired and motivated and help me through the writing process. I actually had the idea for this video a while ago because I was browsing through my bookshelf and came across an old book from my college days called Writers on Writing, Collected Essays from the New York Times. And this is just a book of really great writers and authors, and they're talking about writing, their process, what they hate about writing, what they like about writing. And it's a really great book that I always gravitate towards when I need some inspiration or motivation. And this is kind of the real inspiration for this video. And I thought, why not give you guys a collection of my favorite books to help inspire you? And what better time than NanoWriMo? The first book is obviously Writers on Writing, and it's a really great book. I definitely think you should pick it up. There's a lot of really interesting authors in here. I think Stephen King has a essay in here, and it's just a really great, way to connect with writers on a more personal level. They talk about what they hate about writing, which I don't think you often hear. Like, writing is I believe writing, it can be a very stressful process. It's always, for me personally, I always have trouble getting into the process, like starting. There's all these fears. Is it going to be good? Am I going to like what I'm writing? Or the people I share it with, are they going to like what I'm writing? I think they tackle a lot of those concerns, and even the writing process I know can be difficult. When should you write? What's the best time for you to write? So they kind of tackle those issues as well. So this is a really great book. I mean, you don't even have to read it all the way through. You can just pick the essays that you want to read and kind of go from there and get that little boost of inspiration and motivation. So I love this book. Definitely think if you are like me and struggle with the process of writing or struggle with anything about writing, you should definitely get this book. Another thing that I struggle with sometimes is where to start. I want to write, but I don't have any ideas and I don't have any inspiration for a story. And so this is when this next book really comes in handy. And it's called Making Shapely Fiction by Jerome Stern. And this is also one of my old books from my college days, but I really love this book. Basically, it's a collection of different tropes. This book has different prompts and different styles of ways you can create a story. So it really, if you're stuck in a rut of writing the same thing kind of over and over again, this is a really great book to get, because it tells you, a snapshot. It will tell you different story ideas and give you kind of a prompt to get you started. And I really like that. And it also just has different key terms. So if you're looking for something, this is just an overall really great book for writing, especially if you're a beginner, or even if you're a well-practiced writer. I just think this is great because it allows you to challenge yourself and give your writing some variety. So if you're really stuck on what you want to write for NanoWriMo, I suggest getting this book because it'll help you a lot. So the next books are kind of books on helping you craft a story, talking about plot and characters. And the first one is The Art of Fiction by John Gardner, Notes on Craft for Young Writers. And this book is really good if you kind of want help figuring out how to write well. And this book is really interesting. It gives a lot of, just a lot of great tips in how to analyze fiction so you can write it yourself. And it's just a really awesome book. And it talks about a lot of common errors that you may find when you're starting out writing. And I know it says that it's for beginners, but I still gravitate towards this book every now and then. And I think if you really are serious about being an author, especially in fiction, this is definitely a book that you should pick up. The next book is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but this book is really great. This book is less about the mechanics of like plot and character, but more about the process of writing. The idea, you know, there's a chapter on perfectionism. Like, that is probably my worst thing. Like, I have to make every piece perfect before I can go on to the next, and it's kind of just about letting your thoughts flow. So I really love this book, and there are parts in it that are more mechanics, but it's also about just the life of being a writer and the types of issues that you're going to deal with, and you know, the feelings that you go through. So I really enjoy this book, and I feel like it's very inspirational, so pick this one up. And another book that talks more about the mechanics of writing fiction is The Aspects of the Novel by Ian Foster. And this is probably on my top 3 books about writing. I absolutely love this book. It's really great to just refresh your brain about, you know, what a character should be, what a plot should look like, and it kind of just reminds me what I'm aiming for when I write. And I love it. It's got very great examples in it, and it tries to explain it in a way that's really easy and understandable to a reader and a writer. So I love this book. I think it's really amazing, and again, this is one of my old college books, and I absolutely am so glad that I have this because it's a really, really great book. And I think Ian Foster does a really good job of just explaining things and kind of giving you an idea of what to do and what not to do, so that's always a good idea. And so the last few books that I have are more about revising and grammar, because the revision process is probably one of my most favorite parts of writing, because I love going back and taking what I've already written and trying to make it 1,000 times better by crafting the sentence in a particular way or redoing the scene, and I just love that. So these books are more about grammar, how to craft a sentence, and that sort of thing. So the first one is It Was the Best of Sentences, It Was the Worst of Sentences by June Casagrande. And this book is really great, especially if you are the kind of person that is obsessed with grammar or obsessed with the sentence, like on the smaller scale of a story. Once you have a story written in its entirety, I love going back and like dissecting each sentence to make it sound even better. And sometimes I can go a little too far, but that's a whole different story. But this is a really great book to have if you're one of those kind of people that want to like nitpick your stories on a very small scale, like sentence by sentence. So every writer has like their own style or way they like format sentences, and this helps you kind of break that mold so you can add more variety to your writing. And I absolutely love it because this has helped me in all my writing. It's just a really great book to have, and it kind of makes you think about how important a sentence can be and describing a scene or showing how a character feels. So sentences are very powerful tools in writing. So I think this book is really great to have so you can use that tool wisely. And if you have not heard of Grammar Girl's Quick and Dirty Tips for Better Writing by Mignon Fargardi, I probably butchered her name, I'm so sorry, but this is a great book for those who really need help with their grammar or who just kind of need a refresher every now and then. I love this book because, I mean, not everyone can remember every little grammar rule. So this book is great if I'm like stuck on something or don't remember or like lost. I can always refer to this book and keep going. It's really super easy. The content is great. I mean, I've read this book a couple times through, so awesome book. But it's just like a really great book to have as a reference when you're writing, so I always keep this handy. And if you can't already tell, I am super obsessed with grammar, and I also have the Princeton Review Grammar Smart 2nd edition, and this is also a really great book if you want to know more about grammar. And I got this book when I first started college because my grammar was so bad. Like, I didn't learn very much in high school, so this was a really great book to have handy when I started college, and I still refer to this book sometimes. It has just great like samples and examples to use and like tests to help yourself understand the content, because it's one thing reading about grammar, but then also being able to apply it later on. So there's a lot of great like practice tests that you can use in this one. So this is really great if you really are having trouble grammar wise, or if you want to know more about grammar. This is a really great book to have. And the last book, which is my absolute favorite book on writing, is Reading Like a Writer, a guide for people who love books and for those who want to write them, by Francine Prose. This is an amazing book, and I know we're on BookTube, so I know if you guys are watching this, you love to read books as much as you love to write them. And I think this is a really great book to have because it allows you to analyze the books that you love and read, and then use those tools or use those tricks that authors have used in your own writing. And I've read this book like 5 times already, and I still find like nuggets of information that I can use, and I absolutely love it. If I had the time, I'd probably reread this book every time I got down and started writing or reading a book, because this is such a great book. It has so much useful information, and I mean, you could literally analyze any book, take the parts that you like about it, take the parts that you don't like about it, and use those skills in your own writing. And that's what I love about this book. So, and if you can only get one of these books, I suggest you get this one. It's amazing, it's great, it's fun, it's interesting, and you will not be bored, trust me. So those are all my books to help you guys stay motivated and inspired during NanoWriMo. So thank you guys for watching, and please let me know if you guys are participating in NanoWriMo, or if you've read any of these books, or any books that you have read that constantly inspire or motivate you to write. I'd love to know your process or any other tips that you guys have. So please continue the discussion down below in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. There were no parts in the plot I was like, oh yeah, I knew that was coming. And I liked that about it. It surprised me.